And David, you're taking notes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, any public comment?
There's no public comment. We gotta do roll
What?
roll call.
Oh, you roll call. Okay,
I
so Emily Mellors is not here. You do it or I do it?
Either way, honestly, it doesn't matter.
I'm here. Susan Steffens, District 7, Nancy Perry
Here.
and Ann
Houserath, and yes, I'm here.
and Diana Hammer.
Excused.
Okay. So we have 4. All right. So any public comment
There is no public comment.
Okay. So we need to approve the minutes from 9/24 or 9/4/25. Anybody want to make a motion to do that?
I was not here, so you two have to prove it.
Okay.
I was not here.
Yeah, you were.
What? September?
Yeah, you were.
I was in
Right.
California.
Okay, yeah, well, see, we don't remember. Okay, go ahead. Nancy, go ahead. You were. We talked, you're right. And, okay, and I'll second. Okay. So we have a guest speaker and your name is Amber Johnson. Hi, Amber. Welcome. I'm glad to have you here. You're going to be talking about the Lewis and Clark Public Health Department. Is that correct?
Well, we're going to be talking about a project that we would love to bring you into.
Right.
So if you will all find a little handout.
Mm-hmm.
It's called, so we're calling it Neighborhood Parties 2026. Some people call them block parties. I know that Brenda has met with Anne and chatted about that.
Yeah.
So we wanted to then next step come to the outreach committee and talk
Okay.
about our ideas and drum up support. We need from this Helena Citizens Council for this project. So I'll tell you more about it. Well, I went to a public health emergency preparedness conference in Texas in April. And one of my favorite sessions was from the Cambridge Public Health Department over in Massachusetts, and how like kind of post-COVID, as they were trying to bring people back together, they started throwing block parties.
Mm-hmm.
And they would just give like these neighborhood leaders small grants that would just help them throw a party and bring their neighbors together.
Yeah.
Is the Lewis and Clark Public Health?
This took place. This was from in Cambridge, Massachusetts. That's where I got the idea.
Oh, okay, so they were, their project.
That was their project, and so I loved it. And I thought, I mean, it's different because Cambridge is a tiny place,
Right.
6 miles, like total, right?
Uh-huh.
So it's different, but I still thought, what a beautiful project that we could potentially start here in Lewis and Clark County and the city of Helena. So if you look at the project objectives, one is obviously to strengthen disaster readiness among neighbors, because we know that if poo were to hit the fan, right, there's only so many first responders.
Right.
And so if we create a culture where neighbors take care of one another and know one another,
Right.
then that creates just more disaster resilience.
Mm-hmm.
And also we want to inspire intergenerational friendships, because we know that we have an aging population, and that can cause sometimes some loneliness. And how do we, because we are so segregate, on class and age and all these factors. And so part of the neighborhood party would be to bring people together and get everyone involved, from, the smallest babies to our, elderly neighbors to, and again, our third one, to build social cohesion and connectedness, because we know that we live in polarizing times where people are not talking to each other, that we don't know our neighbors. So how do we make connection happen on purpose? And kind of give people the funds and the permission to do so. And then finally, just, obviously, if we are neighbors who know one another, that care for one another, especially during hard times, doesn't that make our community a more vibrant, safe and lovely place to raise a family, to live, to grow old? So I think that this idea hits on so many different positive outcomes. And there are block parties that happen here already.
Right,
There's
right.
like 20, 25 regular block parties.
Yes, okay, I'll let you take it. Go ahead.
Oh, welcome.
This is done.
Hello.
Now we're smaller. Now.
That's the agenda.
Can you take over this one?
Oh, here, I'll
Say everything.
Sorry, I
No,
disrupted things.
Well, you don't have to share. That's fine. I'm sorry, I took one of your phone.
Oh, no, that's what I
I
have.
apologize. Oh, you got it?
Thank you. Okay. Are you, go ahead. please.
So what was I? Anyway, we
Yeah.
just, we know that, we want to strengthen our collective health and our social fabric. We have, block parties that do happen on a regular here in
Mhm.
Helena. However, we'd like to see that happen more often and to remove barriers for that happening for other people, especially like low-income neighborhoods that might not be able to afford all the permit fees
Right.
and like might not be able to afford to feed their neighbors. So how do we, our thought is, especially, communities that might even need this connection more than ever, how do we help facilitate and remove barriers that give them the opportunity to throw a neighborhood party without, it being cumbersome around cost or permitting, et cetera, et cetera. So we've already met with the city and we're meeting with East Helena today. We've met with the county because obviously we want to throw some parties in Helena area for sure, but we also want to make this, we want to spread out, get into the
Yeah,
valley
yeah,
probably.
right.
And I don't think we're gonna necessarily, especially in our first year, target communities like Lincoln, Augusta, but also leave that open as well, because I am with Lewis and Clark County Public Health. But we thought a great way to get neighborhoods involved would be to reach out to the Helena Citizens Council. Anne is a big proponent of block parties. I'm sure she's told you about all of the block parties that, she was a part of in Boise. And so how do we get that kicked off with like a really collaborative partnership between so many different government and nonprofit agencies that give people the funds and remove barriers to making it happen. So we'd love to partner with Helena Citizens Council on this effort and have you sit on our stakeholders planning board. At least one of you. So, and how many districts did you say there are?
Seven.
There's 7.
And we
So,
represent 3 here, right?
So I think there's 3 districts represented right now. Yeah.
I'm 7. You got your.
What are
and
you
so
in?
as
3. Oh, so we're actually 4 districts
Okay.
because Diana isn't here, but she's District 1.
anyway, that's the project that we want to do. Granted, we need to find funds for it because
Yeah.
we prefer to find private funds as opposed to like grant funds because
they run out.
it's not just the run out, but there's so many strings attached.
Yeah, the logistics of getting it.
Yeah.
And then how it can be utilized.
And how it can be used. We don't want to micromanage. We don't want to be government telling people what they can and cannot do at their party, right? That I don't think is a recipe for success. We want to be able to hand people a $500 grant and say, have a good party.
Yeah.
Granted, we will have to involve the city or the county in things like permits or insurance
Right.
and whatnot, but we would like to take a hands-off approach to be able to kind of throw out the red carpet and let people organize themselves and organize their parties without too much oversight. And that's going to be easier if we find private funds. So our grant specialist right now is knocking on a lot of doors, a lot of banks, asking if anybody wants to fund this. We haven't had tons of luck yet. And so one thing, we'd love your help in figuring out like whose door should we knock on, like a business or an organization or a foundation that can give us money to pull this off without strings attached so that we can maintain that hands-off approach to community parties. And then 2, we'd love your help, especially across those 7 districts, of identifying maybe underserved neighborhoods that maybe they've never thrown a block party before. Maybe they wouldn't have the funds to throw one, and then to find somebody in that neighborhood or that district that would be interested in, because we don't want to just, there's 20 parties already happening. We don't want to target, that's not the population we want to target. We want to target first time party throwers. And so that we can start birthing new block parties, not in just, more affluent parts of the city, but all over the valley and the county and the city, especially where they haven't happened before.
Sarah, have you found out about permitting yet from the city?
We have.
Okay, and how much
So
it costs and
it's
everything?
the city can be, and that's why we met with the city.
Right,
The county, it's really easy. They're just like, just tell us it's happening.
really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's it.
No.
And so it's super easy to work with the
Okay,
county.
yeah.
They're just like, just tell us,
Yeah.
flag it to us so that we know it's happening. And if we need to
Mhm.
throw, and we'll probably inform law enforcement, but the county is easy to work with. The city is going to be proving more challenging, but we met with Parks and Rec and Andy Shurtleff. And he talked about how potentially if this, we put the stakeholder group together and we charge into the future on this project, that the city commissioners can vote to remove the permitting fees. But
Oh,
I'm not saying that's gonna happen, and I'm not saying
Oh.
it has happened, but that's one of the requests that we've made. Like, we can't get away from insurance, and that's where it's just like, we would love to give somebody $500 and most of that money be spent on party supplies.
Yeah, not.
However, with the city of Helena itself, we give somebody $500 and they might spend, if they don't remove those permit fees, they might spend all of it on insurance and
Exactly.
permits, which means people won't gather, they won't party,
Yeah.
because the city has made it too cumbersome. So we have support from Parks and Rec and Andy Shurtleff to bring it to the commissioners to vote to potentially remove permitting fees from this particular project. Again, we're trying to throw 5 parties, and that's all.
Mhm.
And maybe if it goes well in the future, we'll throw more.
Mhm.
But our hope and dream, we can't get away from insurance. That's going to have to be paid.
Yeah.
But depending on insurance, it could be, they told us it could be up to like $250 to pay for insurance,
Yeah.
which means half of that budget is
Right,
just going to go to
right.
insurance. And so we don't want another $200 to go to permit fees, and then they're left over with $50 to spend on like 2 hamburgers.
Mhm.
So
Excuse me, in Cambridge, did they tell you how they dealt with insurance?
they don't require insurance. They waive it. They give people $300, no questions asked. And they just are committed as a city to making this happen. And they have a culture of block parties in their city for hundreds of years. So it's
Right.
not something that they're afraid of. And they just kind of let people do their own thing, and they have almost zero oversight. They don't require any permits. They require 0 insurance.
Mhm.
They just let people gather.
Mm.
So it's not going to be the same here, especially
No,
with the city.
right.
It'll be easier in the county,
Yeah,
but we're going to have
right.
to figure out how to please the city, while at the same time figuring out how to make this happen and less cumbersome for Helena residents.
Are you working with it? Or is Andy working with the city attorney?
No, we haven't brought in the city attorney yet,
Yeah.
but
Okay, but that's kind of where this permit thing, right, what we ran into before was the city attorney. Go ahead.
If you wanted to get started on this, why not start in the county rather than the city?
Because I wanted to start, I want them to be involved in the
we
city
do,
too.
because we want to be inclusive, and why not, like,
Because you're gonna do like right.
sure, like a,
Flag party, I think you were calling it.
Mhm.
I thought that meant we're gonna do one and see how it
Right.
works.
well, yeah, the first year we're doing 5. I think that's pretty low.
Mhm.
And we're trying to take a hands off. We're just gonna let people plan it when they want it, where they want it.
Okay.
And honestly, permits and insurance is gonna be different depending on where people throw it. Because if people have a really large backyard, they can throw a neighborhood party in their backyard with no permits required,
Mhm.
right? That's their private
Right.
property. And so we'll have like we'll have a major fact sheet about
Mhm.
like, if you, and then city parks, like you can easily plan a party in a city park and it's much easier than if you were to like plan something in the street and have to block off roads.
Right.
So depending on what type of party where
Mhm.
people want to throw it, that's gonna really dependent on like how much insurance and how many permits and how much involvement the city's gonna have to throw. And but at the same time, we're not trying to plan this for people. We want them to plan it for themselves. But then just give them really detailed instructions of how to be.
Here's the way you can
Yeah.
do it and this way, or this way. Okay.
Yeah.
So you said you're looking for funding and you've been kind of knocking on the doors of banks. Have you tried, I don't know, have you tried talking to like local businesses in the neighborhoods? Like I'm thinking like I'm on the Lower West Side, right? You've got Town and Country, you've got West Side Wrench. Some of those more like local neighborhood
Sure.
places that
I
might be
love that
interested.
idea of like, if you're throwing a party in a certain neighborhood, having a very, very local business that's in that neighborhood help.
But all of us, a lot of us don't have that.
Mhm.
No,
Yeah.
a lot of us don't, yeah, but
Some do, but,
Right.
and if you have it, Jesus.
I think I have not been the one knocking on doors. Sarah Sandow has, and at the top of my head, I don't recall. I know she started knocking on banks first.
Mhm.
I think she has plans to reach out to at least like Town Pump.
okay.
I don't know
Oh, yeah,
about
Town
Town and
Pump's a
Country,
different-
but so I think she's just kind of pitching her softballs
Mhm.
Yeah.
and seeing what strikes out and what gets a hit. So
Have you guys talked to the radio station at all about doing like their Cup of Joe show and bringing this up with them? Like just having a conversation about what your aim is with this?
I mean, we have a great relationship with Stuart Davis and Cup of Joe, but we don't want to like just have this conversation yet until there's like, we want to have a plan and we want to have
absolutely.
partners. So our,
waiting.
like, we were waiting to have this conversation and we're finally meeting with East Helena, because we'd love to have East Helena participate
Right,
as well. 'Cause,
right, yeah.
and have a block party in
Mhm,
East Helena as
mhm.
well.
Yeah, it would
And
make
then
sense, yeah.
the hope is our next step is to do a stakeholder meeting, so we're kind of having individual meetings to start with, just
Mhm.
to get people familiar with our project idea and to kind of garner and perceive support for the idea. And then we'll do a larger stakeholder meeting, and that will include the city of Helena, city of East Helena, the county, as well as Helena Citizens Council,
Mhm.
and maybe some like we have our Lewis and Clark County emergency preparedness or emergency management team will be there, because part of this is obviously
Yeah, planning.
we're emphasizing disaster
Right,
preparedness.
sure.
So that's gonna, although again, we're not micromanaging, we want to make sure that we're giving people the information,
Mhm.
supplies, resources
Mhm.
necessary.
Yeah, here's some of the
To
conversations you could be
emphasize,
having with your
right,
neighbors.
Yeah,
Right.
disaster preparedness among
Yeah.
neighborhoods.
So what is your time frame for trying to get your first stakeholder meeting in place?
I mean, before the holidays.
Okay.
Yep.
So I think that I mean I'm super interested as an individual on HCC. I think all of us probably are. I think in order for us to be part of your stakeholder meeting, we have to take it back to our larger
Yeah,
board and
yeah.
vote on it. So
I agree.
I will make sure that that gets on the agenda in the next couple of months so that we have a vote and then we can
Mhm.
pick the person or people that would be your good point of contact for us. Because I don't foresee, I think a lot of HCC has a ton of interest in something like this. So I don't foresee that
Yeah,
not
yeah.
passing.
Right, it's just a matter
Especially
of
because
time.
it's
Right.
led by you.
When is your next meeting?
Our next meeting is at the end of this month. It's gonna be the fourth
Okay.
Wednesday.
Let's get it on that agenda.
Well, yeah, if you
Yeah,
could
yeah,
vote
yeah,
then,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
would it be possible to schedule like sort of kind of a soft meeting? Because the thing about it's like herding cats,
Yeah,
trying
you
to
gotta
get that
get
many
everybody.
organizations and people available at the same time in the
Mhm.
same place. So if you're okay with it, we might schedule something for mid-November, sooner rather than later, and then you can vote in late October on whether or not.
I think you
Does
could
that sound
definitely
okay?
move forward, yeah, and if we haven't gotten it on our agenda, we may not be at that one, but
Sure.
we could definitely be at the next one after a vote.
Yeah, and it probably would be more, I just want to stay away from the holidays as much as possible,
Oh,
so
yeah.
maybe
Yeah, we're not gonna be
early-
doing.
earlier
anything till
November,
spring
maybe
anyway,
like
right?
first or second week of
Right,
November.
right.
Perfect.
So,
Yeah.
and like hopefully, we get a stakeholder meeting in early November. We're hoping that we can kick this off in kind of late spring, early summer of next
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
that's really gonna be dependent on how much money we raise. So again, open to ideas.
Yeah.
If you would, yeah, feel free to like, when you're brainstorming or dreaming ideas, you can email me.
Emily?
Yes.
I really agree with your idea that in Boise, we had an ice cream parlor and they routinely just donated ice cream
Sure.
for our annual meeting of the neighborhood association. And so in kind might be easier than a cash donation from many of these local businesses. Like they might be able to donate paper cups and paper plates or, something like that. Also, have you tried AARP, Livable Communities Group?
I am not the
I think
fundraiser on this, but
communities would be a great, again, and maybe
Sure.
they could do something in kind, but, and what I would really like you to focus on is getting a permanent insurance solution. I've asked, Nancy and I were, I don't know, were you at the candidate forum? All the candidates showed interest in block parties. There was a question about this at the candidate forum. And I would like us to be working, if insurance is the bugaboo, to ask the city to get a rider on their insurance. I mean,
I love it.
Boise charges
love that.
nothing for insurance. It's 5 times
Sure.
as big as Helena. There's no reason.
Yeah. And that's where I feel like partnerships come in so helpful, because I feel like the Helena Citizens Council has the influence to start that conversation, keep that conversation going and finding solutions. And that's where it's like everybody has a part to play.
Right.
And if you are willing to play that part in this larger effort, we would be so grateful for your partnership and your influence in that area.
And I'm gonna bring this up, and I don't know, we obviously would have to approve it and yada yada, but we each get $50. I mean, could we donate that to this, Alex?
I don't want to say yes or no just because of the
But
word
that is
donate,
something to think about, yeah.
but I could write that down and
Yeah,
get back
find out
to you,
about
but
that.
I don't know that we can
That
call it
would
a
be-
donation,
That'd be $3.
Sponsorship.
maybe.
I
would have to talk to the finance department about the specifics of that.
Donate, we were sponsoring, so I don't know, but you can
Yeah.
find out, that's just something to think about.
Anyway, I think obviously I'm passionate about this. It is a huge way of building community. It's a huge way of doing outreach. It can be very simple,
Sure.
like you talk about in Cambridge. And so anything you can do to help us remove barriers.
And I
would be
really think that if we start throwing block parties, I mean, I would love to follow up with people like a month later, because we want to leave people with like ideas for follow-up, like invite your neighbor over for dinner, shovel your elderly neighbor's sidewalk, and take a kid out, for ice cream, things like, it's just encouraging people beyond that block party.
Right.
How do I continue to build relationships in my neighborhood? And I imagine some beautiful friendships and stories will unfold from that. And I would love to then, if it keeps going, to collect stories, of just community impact, and how positive that will be, I think, in the long run. Like I heard I think it was Parks and Rec, Doug, he was telling me that he went to a block party and had this neighbor that he thought just didn't like him. They just didn't talk and they didn't communicate, and they didn't, and then years later they went to a block party and now they're friends. So sometimes it's just as easy as being able to break bread together, right? So I'm excited for this, and I'm excited for you to partner with us.
Well,
I
thank
will
you.
put it on your
Yeah.
agenda.
Thank you for sharing.
Please get on.
We'll schedule something for the second week of November, and once you vote, officially, we'll unofficially invite you, and then once you vote to approve it in late October, then we can officially invite you. And then I would love for you to put on your Helena Citizens Council agenda to continue to talk with the city about doing a rider waiver on the insurance or something. That'd be great.
We are doing an art walk. I'm thinking out loud, y'all. We're going to participate in the art walk in November. Is that too early? Maybe we could put out some queries, or.
I don't want to, I like the idea. I love in-kind donations. They're lovely. But I don't want that to limit people. I want to give people money so they can throw whatever
Oh, no,
party
I'm not
they
talking
want.
I'm not talking about asking for money. I'm talking about if.
That's what I'm saying, but I want money first. I don't wanna be like, let's throw a block party
Yeah.
with no money.
So I think it might be a little too early.
Yeah, it might be a little too early.
Cause I'm thinking, well, let me push back. If we just try to elicit support for block parties, just, something.
Maybe get like a
HCC
signature or something?
Well, or cards again, HCC, this could be our topic. This is not new to HCC, right? It's come up again and
Yeah, I
again.
think you're just like kind of testing the waters of what people think.
Well, like the love notes, only this would be block parties. What do you think about the idea of block parties? And then we could collect these and give them to the city commission. And if we had 100 of
okay.
those, or, right?
So kind of like a captive audience survey where it's like you're talking with people and you're giving them
They
all.
seem to want to talk to
They,
us.
Yeah,
they
that's right.
wanted to tell us, have you seen the Love Notes project? It was basically, what do you love about Helena and
Oh,
what can we do better?
Nice.
And this could be one focus.
Mhm.
I'm just throwing it out.
Yeah,
We'll
no,
talk about
I
this.
think
but-
hearing from the community and then having the city hear from the community about how they would love to be able to gather more and more frequently, but they find it either
Yeah.
too cumbersome or too expensive.
Right.
The city's made
Right.
it too cumbersome,
Right.
too expensive for them. I think the city should hear that from residents.
So anyway, I throw that out as an idea. The Chamber of Commerce, if you haven't already, I think they'd be all over this.
Sure.
And Omerta Arts, because they do the art walk and they really like gathering people. So those are just,
Sure.
AARP, Chamber of Commerce, and also I'd say churches. In Boise, again, some of the churches threw a block
Sure,
party.
and but the
invited
thing
all
is,
of us.
like, we don't, so there are plenty of organizations and businesses that throw block parties already. We want them to keep doing that.
Right.
This is for neighborhoods. This is for like somebody that lives in a house next to a bunch of neighbors. We want to make these block parties specific to neighborhoods, not so much to business centers. And so I want our organizations like Omerta, and I know that just this year, Mount Ascension threw a big block party, and I want businesses who have the funds, right? And it's good for their business because it's good PR. I want them to continue offering community-wide block parties that people come to from all over the city. But I think the
This
chief aim of
emphasis.
this project is to get to where people live
Right.
and
Be more
have
neighborhood.
Yeah.
be neighborhood focused, where
Yeah.
people can walk down the street, and have a hamburger with their neighbor. They're not driving into the city to have a
Yeah,
hamburger
yeah.
with somebody that lives 20 minutes
Right,
from them.
Right. Yeah, no, I hear you.
Yeah, I think this is a great idea and we will make
Yeah.
sure that we get it onto our agenda to vote for. I don't foresee there being any issues
Sure.
with that passing to just be stakeholders in that meeting. And I think we will definitely have a lot of ideas coming into that. We really appreciate your time.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Neighborhood Watch.
Thank you.
Is there a neighborhood watch program in
I
Helena?
don't know if there is. There
I
used to be
I
years
think
ago.
that's really dependent on the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Something to reach out to again, because.
I don't know of a neighborhood
No, I
watch.
haven't either.
I've seen one sign on
Yeah.
13th.
And if you guys decide that you want to put out some feelers and ask some questions from the community at the art walk about block parties, feel free. I'd love to hear what feedback you come back with.
Absolutely. We'll let you know what we
Yeah.
come up with.
Thanks, Amber.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't have my business card. This is Sarah.
Yeah.
She's our grant specialist, so she's
Okay.
she's knocking on all the doors. So my email is basically ajohnson@lccountymt.gov.
Oh, okay.
If you have thoughts, ideas for me
Yeah.
and you'd like
These
to
guys are ready.
put them in writing and email
Yeah,
me, feel free to do so.
So should we email you or Sarah?
Why don't you go ahead and
Or
email
copy
me?
Both of you.
Or both of us, yeah, because Sarah is gonna deal with the money side and I'm more of the organization side.
Yeah.
So,
Okay,
Thank you.
perfect. Thank you again for coming. We
Yes, thank
appreciate
you.
it. And
Thank
we'll
you for what you
definitely-
do, for helping us make this a
Yeah,
great place to
Great
live.
idea. It's a great idea.
So let's make it even better.
That's right.
It's gonna be great.
All right. All right, as far as I got.
That's okay.
Thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So communications from committee members, did you guys have anything else that you wanted to bring up? And I'd also thrown out, it is 12:33, so we have some stuff on our agenda after this, so if it's not emergent, could it
Yeah,
possibly wait?
actually, yeah,
I have
Cool.
nothing.
we're good. We're good.
Coordinator, either of you?
I do have a couple of things for you, in reference to the public defender's office. So a couple of things. I know that the intent was to put, elections information, kind of in partnering with the League of Women Voters about where to go to vote, just kind of the bare bones information of voting, like dates and like I said, where to go to vote, that kind of thing. That all is fine. The public defender office would rather we did not put signs in their windows because campaign materials, whether they're one for everybody or whatever, it's all considered advocacy and they, as a state organization, are not cool with that.
Okay, so we were gonna hang them, but it's the same idea, right?
Yeah, they don't want any sort of advocacy materials. They said the bare bones information, like the stuff that I
Right,
printed
right.
out for you with
Okay.
voting
Gotcha.
information, fine. But yeah, so also, Anne, you had emailed about doing long range transportation plan
Yes.
things. Can you tell me a little bit more about what you're intending? Because that wasn't part of the conversation up till kind of
Right,
now.
well, that's why I brought it up, that's why I wanted it on the agenda, where is that flyer? The MPO, Metropolitan Planning Organization, is doing public outreach, their first effort of public outreach in October. So I told Diana this, where's my folder here? Anyway, they are gonna have, I'd asked Kai if he could do a poster, here, I'll show you this. But I told him before, first, we all need to talk about this. So anyway, they have this information. They're doing 2 open houses in October. They're doing a virtual open house to kick this off in October. It is well within our my reading of our charter, which is the future development of the city. And transportation has been, along with affordable housing, the two things that people, so I think this is well within our purview.
So putting up just a flyer
Well,
of their open house
and
information.
He would make a poster of this flyer to make it
Where
bigger
would you put it?
in the,
See, that's my problem. I don't like that because we've got one theme, the voting, and I just think it's such a, for the League of Women Voters. I would prefer not to.
well, let me
No, you can say
explain it to you,
Yeah.
that and we have the space on the left-hand side. And that means there's windows facing 6th Avenue. There's windows facing sort of the little courtyard, the little entry level.
Right.
Then there's one window like this on the left-hand side of the door. And to me, I'm going along to be a team player with the election stuff, but our primary charges from the charter are the budget and development of the city. And this is key. Transportation is key. Just put up one poster that it's just another way of reaching out, because I felt the land use transportation plan, we got some fabulous comments at the open house when it's too late to actually add them to the plan. So inviting people in early, just a poster. But I told him, hold it off. If you won't give us a poster, can we put up at least a flyer?
Okay, so if it, does that kind of answer the question that you needed answered?
So I spoke with Director Konopke about this, and he is fine with you all putting information in the window about this as long as it comes from the city, right? It's as long as it's created by staff and there's not any inconsistent information with what they're trying to put out. Not saying that you would put out inconsistent information, but
We want
you
the
know,
latest information
yeah.
from the.
Well,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I don't want to use our budget money on that information. They've got it. And again, Ty Weingartner paused his order of a poster pending this meeting, because I thought, because Nancy's also, and I'm not going to the mat on this one. If you all say you don't want it, fine.
So if he wants to make a poster, that's their department's business. That's not for me to get in the way of, certainly, but keep in mind that the committee, you all voted on what was going to go in that window. This was not part of that plan. So that's just something for you all to consider.
Can I suggest that we not, I mean, this little one in the window, which is gonna be there with the League of Women Voters, but if he wants to make a nice poster, let's save it for the art walk. Because we're
I
not.
think that
gonna
will be
see the
over
women
the
on
art
art
walk.
I asked him about that and he said the first phase of public outreach is in October.
Okay.
And I didn't, I wasn't at your meeting in September too. I didn't know about the
Mm-hmm.
time frame until the MPO meeting on the 15th of September. So that's when, it
Yeah,
occurred
I
to
didn't
me.
get the date of the art walk.
It's November.
It is November, I think November 7th. I've got to double check. And these are both happening at the end of October.
I see.
And I asked Ty, will they continue this? And he said, well, I can't tell you that, but
We won't know for sure.
this is the first one, they'll close it and then, so again, I'm not going to the mat on this one with you. I think it's a good idea. I think it's totally within our work.
Okay. So I think two things. I think A, we would need to vote to add it to our display.
Okay.
And then B, just some kind like contextual information. League of Women Voters has not gotten back to me. I don't know if anybody else has heard from them. Diana was working with them, but I emailed.
Did you hear anything?
I saw Sherry.
Yeah.
At the
Candidate forum.
candidate forum,
Okay.
and she was saying, yeah, we're gonna bring our stuff down on that day, but
I emailed her because they had kind of asked about how to get the
Right.
information there, and Diana didn't necessarily address that in her response, so I responded on Tuesday, I
Yeah.
think, and I asked them, I let them know, we're happy to pick up the materials, or did you envision assisting us with decorating, and no one has responded. So at this time, we do not have any material
Yeah.
from them.
well, what I was assuming was that they were gonna show up, because I did tell her, we
Okay.
have a meeting
think
that
it was
lasts an
Richard,
hour, and
yeah.
then we're going
Down
to
there.
walk down to
Right.
Good Kind Building and put our stuff up.
Okay,
So let's let
Just
them
hope
show
that
up when they show
Right.
up.
okay.
Right.
I just wasn't sure. I was not sure what the intent
Right.
was, and so I wanted to make sure that they got the information that they needed to get.
Yeah,
Because they had kind of, the way she wrote the email made it sound like she was trying to get it to us.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't quite sure if she
Yeah.
needed us to get it or something, but if they show up, that's perfect.
Right.
If not, I will reach out again and see if we can maybe get their information from them.
I got the impression, Nancy, maybe I'm wrong, that they were gonna do it in the morning and then we're coming down.
yeah, we may go down there and discover
Yeah,
they
that-
filled our
that
whole,
we can fill
off
in.
and not out of luck.
Right.
At least maybe it'll be more colorful since we can't use the yard signs, so.
Yeah,
So I
that's
guess
a
with
good
that in
idea.
mind,
Okay.
let's maybe just vote.
Yeah.
Yes or no. So if someone wants to make a motion to include the MPO information, can we not make,
Yeah, that was not on the agenda before.
Okay.
So we can do it.
Oh, but
Vote on anything that's not on the agenda.
yes, we can, because it's, excuse me, but it is, Public Defender's Office display setup.
But this was not in,
Where's that?
the public had no way of knowing that this is what we were gonna talk about. They did not see the materials
No, they
beforehand.
okay,
They don't have transparency to aid.
so I
Yeah,
think,
vote.
yeah,
That is,
Yeah. All
so
right.
what could, but instead of saying no, how can we get to yes on this? I
Put
mean,
it on
what,
the agenda for next time.
that'll be November.
Right.
Okay. I thought that I was putting this on I thought that was adequate.
so, I guess in the future,
Mhm.
how do we phrase it to get it on the agenda appropriately? Like,
Kind of blatantly say what's on the agenda. I mean,
Mhm.
But I thought that this would be an opportunity to discuss this, so how?
so I think instead of like public defender office display,
should put-
because there was
Right.
information that went
That's
with it, we
good.
would need
Yeah.
this in the email and say,
Mhm.
we would like to add this to the agenda just to follow the open meeting laws so that it's available to the public to see this document
Mhm.
that we would be discussing.
But we're showing it to them right now. Here's the meeting.
Yeah,
I mean, seriously, I think I'm feeling very frustrated. This is anyway, all right, let's go on.
Mhm.
Because I'd like to talk about the library display and I want to put this up at the library.
Okay, yeah, let's
Anyway,
move on.
let's go on.
We'll
Thank you.
discuss.
Library's not gonna say no, so. yeah.
So new business,
Mhm.
unless, did you have more, Alex? I'm sorry.
No.
Okay.
I wanted to.
Yeah.
So if you guys are gonna miss a meeting, just make sure you like notify me, that's all, like, if I didn't know Diana wasn't.
Oh,
here,
I
like, if
think she
didn't-
said something in an email, Jamie, but you may not have been on it. I don't know,
Yeah, just like.
cause I know she told her.
Yeah, you can let her know, cause like, then it's just,
Yeah.
I have to put her as an absent, and
Right.
like, and it can't be an excused absence,
Right.
that's all.
Would it be easier for you if we email you separately? Cause I know sometimes it
Yeah,
gets
I
pulled
think
into
that's
different
fine.
email chains, so
Yeah.
email separately.
Yeah, when it gets into those
That's a good
chains, sometimes it's really hard, 'cause I'm not only doing HCC stuff, so
Absolutely.
I'm all up over the place sometimes, it just depends on.
Yeah,
So we'll
Once I work
notify
on the subject line,
separately.
you know, I'll capture, right, read me immediately.
Excuse me. Bye-bye.
Yeah, we'll make sure to do that one.
Okay.
So new business, fall art walk. The fall art walk, I believe, is November 7th.
Right on it.
Let me double check that. It was kind of hard to find that information in the first place. That would be a Friday. I believe it is November 7th. I'll double
And
check.
that is a Friday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds right, but yeah, okay. Yeah. Sounds good.
So I think, I can't remember, did we vote? Yeah, November 7th. Did we vote last week or last month to
I think we did.
attend the
didn't
art
we?
walk, or did we say we had to add it to this agenda?
We were adding it to this agenda so
okay.
that we can vote
Vote
on,
on it.
yes.
Great. So if someone would like to make a motion that HCC outreach attends the fall art walk,
I'll make a motion. Second, you do that.
all right, and then all in favor?
Yep.
Great, so that passes. So we will attend the fall art walk. I think talking about, well, I mean, the fall art walk in general is just to kind of get the pulse of the citizens that we come in contact with, ask them if they are Helena residents, if they know what HCC is, help them find their neighborhood and their representatives and their information, and then talking to them about upcoming meetings of interest. So things like this, anything that's publicly noticed on the city site already, I think would be things that we sometimes will just chat with them about. Is that acceptable? If it's already publicly noticed and on the city website, we can mention that it is something that's coming up that might be of interest to them?
Yes.
Cool. So I think things like the open houses and other items for transportation would be great to bring up. So maybe prior to the art walk, we can have maybe just like a list, a cheat sheet of like what's upcoming and publicly noticed already. Does that seem
Yeah.
reasonable?
I think that's great. I like the idea of the bringing up the block party thing too, though.
Yeah, let's just.
Yes.
We have to vote on that. I think that's a good.
I think that's just, we've always done that.
Yeah.
It's a tradition.
I think it's a good idea.
But we can vote on it, but it's a
Yeah.
tradition of asking people's opinion.
Alex, do we need to vote on that or?
No, you're voting to attend and now you're making
Right.
your plan and this is everything.
And
Vote
we're
for it.
going to be asking people's opinions specifically about about block
No, I
parties.
Yeah, I think that.
And it's timely because it'll fit, then we can
Right.
feed it to the
Right.
public health department.
Yeah,
And it shows the public
Yeah,
that
no, I
we're
think
maybe
it's
building partnership. Okay, I'll shut up.
No,
Okay.
Are
think
we
it'll
done?
be
Do
good.
we need to vote on this?
No,
no,
she said
We're done.
no.
Okay.
so fall art walk is decided. I think, sorry, just a few more things because it is next month and we probably will not, we might meet again before then. Would we meet again? I am sorry, I do not remember what day we agreed upon.
I think it's
First Thursday.
Thursday. Yeah.
Oh, so it'd be the day before.
Don't remember what that date
Before
is.
the
in
art
November.
Yeah, if it's the 7th, it'd be the 6th.
It's all
Oh,
done.
yeah, Friday is the 6th.
No.
Friday's, I'm married to a mathematician. I think.
So yeah, it'd be the 6th.
Okay, yeah.
That'd
no,
be the
we'll
first
better
Thursday.
check.
Yeah.
So yes, we'd meet the day before. That being said, I do think we need a plan on who will be attending. Of
Mhm.
course, it's a 4-hour time block. We've traditionally split it into 2-hour
Yeah, I
chunks and
like the
asked
way you do
HCC, do you want to do that again? Ask people to volunteer for
Mhm.
time slots. Okay. Should we be in the same location? Should someone go down to Birds and Beasley's and ask them if they would allow us to take
It's so
over?
nice.
Yes, it's
Yeah,
warm.
just no.
Yeah, it's
And it's
warm
warm.
and they're
It's a good
nice.
He
shot.
uses his bathroom, he provides snacks.
Yeah, that's right.
And I will, do you want to talk to him about it?
Yeah, not today, but.
No, but sometime, and if we're agreed on the whole open house the block party thing. Why don't I ask the chamber again? If inside, it'll be totally different. But I'll see if there'd be any way, I can talk to him if you want to, about to see if we can use the chambers, that sandwich board.
Oh,
Do the
okay.
same thing about block parties.
Oh, yeah, if they
Right?
would let us use
If
it.
they,
Yeah, if they were amenable to doing that again.
it was the chambers,
Oh, yeah, let's
The
check
chamber,
and see if.
right?
Yeah, I think that'd
Because
be
that
good.
was decorative, it'll be crowded, but again,
I think that's good. It worked nicely for the like Helena Love Notes. I think it would work nicely for
Well,
this.
people, yeah, we're in.
do you want me to ask? So I'll talk to
Absolutely.
Callie.
So I think
Only if you promise to be the one to snag people when.
Oh, I'm so good at that. I'll give but I'm gonna
yeah.
put a little,
yeah.
bicycle on it or something.
That's perfect, Hannah. I think that's decided. I can, here's a question. What's your preference? If I were to, like, historically, I would send out an email. I am happy to blind copy everybody. That's my preference anyway, but I would send out an email to the HCC body and ask them if they would volunteer for a time slot and tell them what we're doing. Is that something that I can do, or is that something that you guys would prefer to do? How do we handle that?
You wanna take that?
Because it's not a meeting. We usually ask representatives to be there at the event to represent HCC and talk to constituents.
Is that something they have to vote on technically?
No, so the outreach committee's voting to attend, so you
So-
guys are essentially gonna talk about this at the 22nd, I'm assuming, at your outreach report. So that would be a good place to introduce that idea. And after that, I guess it's kind of up your preference as the chair. How do you want to organize that? Are you gonna organize that?
Yeah, I generally do. I email everybody and pester them until they volunteer.
Then it might just be easier for you, so we're not the middleman in that.
Yeah, I can do that. I just wanted to make sure. Cool. So I will send out an email after our 22nd meeting. So anything else about the art walk that we want to talk about before we move on? Cool. So Lewis and Clark Library display. I think there's a couple things with this. I don't know if you guys have something you wanted to say before we start this conversation, because I know there was an email.
So essentially, the Lewis and Clark Library, in conjunction with the city manager and Lewis and Clark County, are not comfortable with this going forward. Because we have a public information officer, so does the county, and it is their job to distribute information about the city. The library has concerns about the frequency of updating this. The public information officer has concerns about frequency of updating. And like I said, all three entities have essentially said that they're not interested in the HCC being part of that.
Okay, I have that's fine, because I don't really care. I just want it to happen. So can we put an invitation to the city's information officer to come to our next outreach meeting? Or let's make it that we're gonna be talking about the art walk. I think, I don't care who does it. The library has created a space just for city information. And so if the city information officer will do that, that's even easier. I don't want to do it. I have no ownership in this.
But we
The
can't
answer
tell
has
him,
been no.
What?
The answer has been no.
we can't tell him what to put in there though. 'Cause
Well, but the East Helena Library does this. That's,
Is there the potential that we could maybe just talk to the public information
Yeah.
officer at one of our upcoming outreach meetings?
get him on the agenda so we can talk about how can we help you do this? Rather than just saying, you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do that. Well, what
Yeah,
can you do?
I understand what you're
Yeah.
saying. I just wonder if we could maybe talk to them about how we could be involved in some way, or what we could do moving forward. I understand what you're saying. I just think it might be helpful for us to understand how we could be helpful and maybe have that conversation.
I can ask.
Okay.
But the directive from her boss, the city manager,
Yeah.
has been no.
Well, but Alex, I'm not asking about this to harangue the library. Surely, we're an outreach committee. I think our committee should invite the public information officer to come and talk to us about how we can. Surely they're not unwilling to come and talk to us about how we can work with them, because I don't want to fight with you all. But I'm finding this really, really, really frustrating that every time we have an idea, somebody says, can't do it. And that's tiresome.
Can I, Chair, do you mind if I speak to that?
Uh,
Go ahead.
Okay, So what I see happening here and the frustration that we keep running into is that the process of making things effective and efficient isn't being followed in this committee. So what I see happening is we have one member going to make a reservation for a public outreach thing like the public defender's office, doing it and then bringing it to the board and kind of asking for permission after. And we have one member going to the library and saying, we want to do this, and then bringing it to the board.
Excuse me.
No, it's my turn. Thank you. And the process should be, let's come to the board, talk about this idea, become a full-fledged plan, because we're running into this with the window display as well, that we have all these ideas, but they
Right.
weren't really fully fledged, and now we're here and we don't have anything to put in it because it wasn't a plan before we actually made the reservation, right? And we are running into this with the library because we have all these ideas and we're just gonna go do it and then come to the board and say, here's what we're gonna do, right? We don't have a plan first, because we might have been able to like head this off at the beginning before plans were made, before conversations were had, and before it became a big thing, that maybe we could have said, hey, public information officer, is there a way that we could partner on this before we go actually to the library and make it a thing, right? So if we bring ideas to the board first, make a plan, vote on whether we want to actually do it or not, vet the idea, and then make it happen, that's how efficiencies and processes work on a city functioning board.
So totally understand where you're coming from. We did talk about this in February, actually, is when the conversation about the library started, and we did all agree on it as a group. I think the disconnect is that I think Peggy was maybe a little disconnected about how we could go about it. And so at that time, it was not indicated to us that we could not move forward with
Right,
this.
no,
So
it
the
wasn't.
conversation with the library and the vote with our group had
Right.
already happened, and there was a plan to post publicly noticed information.
I apologize for not knowing the background.
That's okay, you didn't know the background. I think a question, I think this is where maybe a conversation and a question, like we could have done better, I think everybody, right? And I understand where your guys' frustration is coming from. I understand that we are frustrating you guys. You guys are trying to do your jobs. And we maybe don't have the best information to work with based on the new structure that you guys have, right? To be completely candid, I think we maybe we're operating outside of what we should have been doing. It's not that we want to be combative. I think there's a lot of confusion because
Right.
things we have done
Right.
previously are no longer allowed. I do think that moving forward, we can do better as a body about communicating in advance and making sure that we do things correctly to get them on the agenda so we can have these conversations and you can give us the guidance we need to move forward in an appropriate manner.
Well, I totally agree, but Alex, I just have a question.
Yes.
So when we were planning the window display, how should we have done that differently?
So the conversation would have started in the committee.
Yeah.
So rather than making the reservation and then coming in and saying, hey, I made this reservation, let's find
Gotcha.
something to put in there.
Right,
It would have been more
appropriate.
productive and appropriate, yes, to say,
Okay,
we have this opportunity.
yeah,
What could we do to make that really a great
right,
thing for the HCC and for the city? Okay, now let's go see what the public defender's office can partner with us with, or what month we can do that in. And if you needed to come back because they weren't available until December,
right,
and then you can't put elections
Right,
stuff up
right.
anymore, right? So if you had to come back and keep
okay,
processing that idea and keep kind of
Okay.
massaging the point,
Yeah.
then like
I-
things can move forward more.
I'm okay with this, don't get me wrong. I'm just gonna say that in the past, and of course you guys were here, so you have no idea, but we had a member that we would talk about it and say, yeah, we do wanna do that, and then she'd go over and get the space for us, and then we discuss it. And it was sort of ad hoc, I mean, I don't know, but the thing is, sometimes you plan things on the, what I mean? We had a theme, we picked a theme, and then we go in, we didn't think we needed to approve everything, you know what I'm saying?
Sure. The way that that conversation came about for the
Yeah.
public defender window
Alright.
specifically, if we're using this as our
Yes.
kind of basis. One member just made it happen and then came to the board and said.
Yeah, no, I know
wanna do
how it
this."
happened this time.
Yeah, this time it was kind of a
Different,
cluster.
yeah.
Previously,
Yeah.
we would have a
Well,
conversation and we would, we'd pick a theme and then we
Yes.
would get the
Yeah.
the display.
That's what I was trying to say,
That's great.
because I agree, this time was a little,
It was a little bit of a,
Yeah.
yeah, it was not our best work.
no.
As a group,
But
but previously that is how we would
right,
do it.
we
But
would do it.
I think one question I have in reference to this is if we vote to do the display, do we also need to vote on what goes in the display?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. I think
I
if
think
we
that-
do
we
that
can do
moving
that.
forward, we just need
Yeah.
to be a little bit more aware of our timeline. Where this time we didn't, this
Yeah, we didn't
time we
even know
did
when
it very
was.
differently.
Yes, yeah, that's true.
So, but it would be a theme, right?
Right.
I mean, we don't have to vote on, we're
No,
gonna
no,
put this
no,
poster
no.
in this, it's just a theme.
Just a thing.
correct?
Right,
Okay,
okay.
And then, yeah,
Something. Like one thing I've learned while I've been here is things move slowly and it's for a reason.
Yeah.
Realistically, we move slowly so we don't break any laws. I mean, you see it all the time with the commission, like the things that come up on their agendas. I mean, they're talked about in like multitude of ways. Like you really see it if you go to the commission meetings, you watch what they're talking about to even come up with a decision to vote on that decision. It's a very long process. Truthfully, it is so you don't break any laws, because if government's moving quickly, you're breaking laws in some way. I promise you.
Yeah.
So it's not the city, like well, not even us, because this
Yeah.
isn't even coming from us.
Right.
You guys
No,
may
we know
you may
that.
think
You
everything
just-
comes from us.
No, we know.
You
that.
just see our faces,
Right.
and it's not us. It's
Mhm.
there's
No,
people
we know
above
that.
us.
excuse me, so who does it come from? Is it
It
the city
depends.
manager or who?
I think they're the mouth, like you guys are the messengers,
Right,
and that
right,
is coming, I
right.
think, yeah, it's coming
Yeah,
from a
no,
variety,
they
right?
are.
Like if we're talking to, like,
Right.
I think a good example is, the library board. That's gonna be like the PIO and the city manager, right? So that's coming from them.
Yeah.
But then we have
Yeah.
had a couple other things that have come from like the city attorney so I think it's coming from that like higher level administrative
Mhm.
arc, would be my guess, the
And-
finance manager, et cetera.
Mhm.
I do have a question from this discussion. I'd like to clarify, and we're almost out of time. If we decide to do something as outreach, do we then have to take it to the whole HCC? I'd like to have
Yeah,
that clarified.
right, and that's a good question.
Because
Yeah.
that seems like kind of a waste of our
Redundancy.
time.
I don't
and
think we
it's
I don't
slow.
think we
always do.
certainly
I think if
do.
we're spending money, we go through them, but otherwise we are
We can make the decisions as an
Committee.
outreach committee.
Yeah,
But
I just want
But
to
it has to be
clear on that.
more, right, Alex?
Correct,
Yeah.
yes.
Right, right.
then that's our form.
And so, but
So I don't think. we
do I
can
need to
do
make a
that.
motion to ask the public information officer to come to one of our meetings? Because I'd really like to
Well,
figure out
yeah,
what
I
we
mean,
can do. If there's stuff the city doesn't want us to do, I'm not gonna waste my time on it.
Are you talking come to an outreach meeting?
Yeah, to an outreach meeting.
Because I was gonna say that's not an
And
HCC
we,
function.
yeah, go ahead.
So I
Yeah,
just
no,
want to say
it
one
will.
thing that I've spoken directly
Yeah.
with the information officer. It's not that she doesn't want to do it. It's like they don't have the time. Like they have like so much
Wow.
time. They're already posting in so many places. The library is just not a place.
Totally understand. I think at this point it's beyond the library. We just
Yeah.
wanna meet with them and ask them like, how can we best share
Facilitate.
information?
Yeah.
So it's not, like you're saying, it's not that the city doesn't want HCC to be involved. That's your whole job as the HCC to
Right,
be involved, to
Just to
share information with your neighbors and that kind of thing. It's finding the right conduit for that
Mhm.
and the right process that is still within the HCC's scope
Yeah.
and purpose.
So here's something that I think is a good idea for us, right? So the idea behind the communications from committee members, that's where we need to be bringing up our ideas to put on the next agenda. So we've got to be working a month in
Yeah,
advance to
that's
the
good.
best of our
That's
ability.
good.
Please, can you do I need to make a motion that we invite the public information
Well, that's
officer to
on the
come?
agenda, right?
I,
Yeah,
it would
I know.
have to go on the agenda to invite them, but do
We
we
can do it on
need to
that.
do that, or can we like ask you
Up
guys?
To you as the chair and.
Okay,
Put it on next, just,
yeah,
we vote now that we want them to come to one of our future meetings whenever it can be worked out.
I don't know that we would have to vote on it. I think if we're in agreement, we can ask that our city contacts invite the PIO to a future meeting.
Yeah.
But I don't want them to say no. I mean,
Well, I mean.
I don't think you
Yeah.
can control it, yeah.
All that.
So I don't know that a vote would change that, but
No matter, yeah.
Yeah, we can talk with her and,
Okay, thanks.
see if she'd be willing.
Give
Obviously,
us an idea, guys.
she has her own time and, you know,
yeah,
she's
if
on her own time.
it's like 15 or 20
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah, I can zoom in.
I'll
yeah,
talk.
she can zoom in and tell her we're gonna help her out. If she doesn't have time to do stuff, we are here,
Well,
we're
well,
volunteers.
Somewhat,
One thing I
somewhat.
do wanna say, it's also like the issue with it, just like so you're informed about this.
Yeah,
Is the consistency of updating the board.
Yeah.
for the
Yeah,
city
it's very
information.
good.
That's the
That's-
biggest
yeah,
issue,
I
I
get
think that it comes through, because you'd have to have someone particularly devoted to like going to that
Yes,
board and updating it, like
Yeah.
every time it needs to be
Right.
updated, which that office already does. I mean, with all the
Right.
information they have, they update it
Yeah,
consistently, very, you know, anytime new information has come out and it's created by the city,
Okay.
it's updated.
yeah, no, I think that's
I,
good.
we appreciate the context a lot.
And
I
Damon,
think-
thank you for your
Yes,
thoughts.
thank you.
Good.
Thank you
And
guys.
I'm not trying to.
We
No, we
appreciate
appreciate
your
it.
guys's. I think this is the productive conversation
Yeah.
that we need to have.
I agree.
When we are on the same team, we just
Yeah.
have to figure out how to work within the red tape of
Yeah.
government, which is not something we have necessarily done in the best manner.
Right, best practices, right?
Sure.
As a body.
And we're happy to answer questions. If you have any process questions or.
Oh, you did great.
We're, call us up or send an email. We're happy to answer any questions that you might have.
It's my job.
Yeah, okay, good.
Truly.
So,
It's literally your job to help.
so meeting location, I would like to put that on the agenda for next.
Yeah, we can circle back to it for sure. I will say though,
Is the
here's my
library
thoughts.
indicator?
No, the library is just as easy. I am
Okay.
just late for everything perpetually because of who I am as a person.
Yeah. But we know, we wanted, that's why we were in the library, because we thought it was easier for you, but if it's not a big deal, I don't have a problem, you don't care.
I think the library,
Easier.
I think there is, just really, really quickly, because we're at the
Yeah.
end of our time here. I think the library, is a little bit more friendly, just like inherently, I think sometimes looking at the big city building and not quite knowing where you're going is a little disconcerting for the public. I will say, I appreciate having these guys run our meetings.
Me too.
because Then we don't have to, and
And the
they are
Zoom.
not able to work
I like
outside
the
of the
Zoom, you
city
guys.
county building.
Right.
I think Peggy sometimes like went above and beyond for us, which was lovely. But I think we gotta start
Right.
working to operate with
Mhm.
where they're at right now. And right now they work here in this
And
building,
there's
which
times
is
you can't
fine.
Get the meeting with Zoom on.
Yeah, and Zoom is nice. And then the other piece of that is just, nope, forgot my own point, forgot where I was headed. I don't know where I was headed. We can certainly talk about it more. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's
if
all.
we could put it on the agenda, that'd be great. Let's just go ahead and due to time, we're gonna scrap the rest of it. So let's go ahead and adjourn.
Yep.
Perfect.
Do we need to set the next meeting dates?
No, because it was
It's already
Thursday.
firmly on
Yep,
there.
yep.
doing here?
Got it.
Cool.
All right.
Thank you
Oh,
guys.
so no
Thank
time.
you.
Well, all right, we'll take Adelaide, we'll have them.
You're welcome to put in